Welcome to the Channel Nation, I'm Jaden Chase, and these are some of the top stories making headlines today. Now, it has been rumored that Big C-19 has been linked to the recent deaths of teachers on the Jamaican island. Now, without denying or confirming, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced that the mask mandate will be back in effect on the island shortly. And for schools, it has been made mandatory that students wear masks. And if students turn up to schools without masks, they should not be denied an education, but that a mask be provided by the school itself. Now, of course, we're going to hear from Andrew Holness, and then we'll continue the Reasoning Nation. Look and listen.
On, and I am going to take it off because I am distanced from the gathered audience. And having defined that there is this social distance, and having surveyed the audience, and I'm seeing that about 70% of the audience is in mask, it is going to be a requirement shortly for all our citizens to return to wearing their masks. As you know, we are in the fifth wave, and it will be a continuing feature of life going forward that we will, for some time, be experiencing recurrent bouts of increased infections from this disease. It is called the endemic phase, meaning that the disease is becoming a part of our daily routine. After 2 years, everyone should know how to behave in order to protect themselves from the virus. First order of business, get vaccinated. Some people don't want to do it. Some people have done it. What we know is that the vaccination program has saved lives and has reduced hospitalization. That is what we know. So some people would have decided to be enlightened about this matter, and they would have taken their vaccination and even their booster shots. Others would have said, I will take my chances, and they would have probably gotten inoculated naturally, meaning that they would have acquired and obviously be infected, and people are getting ill. Thankfully, we are not seeing the infections and the illness translating so far into hospitalization, serious hospitalization. We do maintain our capacity of beds in the hospital, but you would note that for the government to have had this great standing capacity to serve the infections, it would have meant that we would have redirected resources from other illnesses and other urgent treatment, and the health sector had to go back to treat with the operations and the services for which other citizens were deprived in order to treat with the pandemic. We don't want to go back to that situation again. So I am urging all Jamaicans to act responsibly. Act responsibly. And we know what to do. Let me repeat. If you haven't yet gotten your vaccine, vaccine sites are still open and vaccination is ongoing. Please get vaccinated. Wear your mask, particularly if you are indoors, but wear your mask generally. Maintain social distance, and social distance is what you would consider to be spatial awareness, being aware of the people around you and the spaces that you are in. In Jamaica, we don't pay much attention to personal space. It is not our culture. So everybody rub up on everybody, right? But personal space is you maintain a decent distance from each other. Certainly when we are having these waves and these spikes, you would want to have a little more space and distance. But you would also want to be conscious of how you gather in crowds. So if you're seeing, you know, more than a certain number, let's say 10 persons gathered, you would want to be careful how you go within crowds. If you're in public transportation where social distancing may not be possible, ensure that you wear your mask, carry your hand sanitizer with you. Right? Sanitization of the hands, very important, and it has proven to slow the transmission. These are just some things that you can do. If you are ill, and with all that is happening now, there are other kinds of respiratory illnesses going around. But generally, if you are ill, particularly with any form of respiratory illness, you would want to try and take stock. Get tested, stay at home, isolate yourself a little bit until you know exactly what is the situation so that you don't pass it on to others, right? Stay away if you are ill, definitely from persons who are considered to be in the vulnerable group. And if you are in the vulnerable group, you should be even more cautious about how you conduct yourself. So, in our society, everybody's quick to blame and cast blame. But one thing is certain, as your prime minister, I have been very consistent in preaching this message of social responsibility and how our society must adjust to managing the effects of the pandemic. So, having said that, and I hope that is not the lead story for the news, because I have other matters.
Yes, nation, now let's continue the reasoning. Now, Jamaica is in a certain situation. Recent lockdowns almost destroyed the Jamaican economy, to the point where the Prime Minister stated that at no point will the country close its borders and impose restrictions on when and where individuals can go and what time they have to go in. The education sector has suffered. At this point in time, CXC used to be based on recommendations from teachers and how well students were doing in a particular subject. Some would say that was for the benefit of the student. Some would say it was for the benefit of the parents. Some would say it was for the benefit of the school and its stats. Now, in this day and age, students have been given the option to just choose whichever subject them feel like them strong and confident within themselves and know say, yo, them can pass. But the underlying reason for that is they know at this point in time it would be hard for teachers to make any form of recommendation for students, because the fact is, even though online classes were being conducted for most schools, not all students could access the online classes or even do it on a regular basis for numerous different reasons. Or we can't just say, oh, internet and whole heap of different reasons. Whole heap of students have shared whole heap of different complications and issues with them face with online learning. And with that being said, the education level, the literacy level of the nation, youth attending school, is at a percentage where the Ministry of Education don't even want to publicly discuss it. Now, as it pertains to Big C19, the minister said, individuals, people on a whole residing on the island, will have to take their safety into their own hands. Meaning, say, even though mass mandates, and they're saying that shortly that will be put in effect, and something them are discussed. Maybe the date when them are gonna say, yo, you have to wear a mask, that will be different, but them plan for put it in place regardless. And whether it is because of the recent deaths that we see with the teachers or not, or we see them as said after happening at schools, because we don't want to return as stated to online classes. Even though I think St. Hugh's was reportedly closed for a number of days after both staff and students reported symptoms. Talk to me. Tell me how you feel like. As we see public sector workers fouled out. Almost every public sector almost strike recently. The economy mash up. We just try to get back there. So people in a whole, you have to move better. Know what them are do out there. To ensure that the people in the country in a whole can continue to thrive. We don't even talk about get back to normal. But talk to me in the comment section. Tell me what you think. You know the sentiments, and for those who don't. Well, first and foremost, click the subscribe icon, then the bell icon, and of course put it on all. And this is how you know you'll be notified of all fresh content as soon as fresh content is uploaded and made available for you right here on the platform. The like icon is also in close proximity to the share icon. Drop a like and bust a share. Tell a friend, tell them sister, and then brother them for check out the channel, check out the reasoning, join the discussion. Comment section open 24/7. It never lucky yet. Just be respectful and mindful of the guidelines. But other than that, drop your thoughts, your comments, and yes, your opinions there, and we can continue the reasoning via the comment section. It has been rumored a big C-19 has been linked to the recent deaths of teachers. Prime Minister announces that the mass mandate will be back in effect shortly. Talk to me.